Abigail Spanberger won the election to be Virginia governor in a landslide last November. But a little more than 2 months since taking office, a new Washington Post poll finds her support is a lot more divided. Joining us now, Karen Holt, professor of political science at Virginia Tech, who has spent decades following politics in the Commonwealth. Karen, thank you for being with us this afternoon on WJLA 24/7.
Good to be with you.
All right, Karen. Well, Governor Spanberger got nearly 58% of the vote in November, but the polls find just 47% approve of the job she's doing. That's several points lower than support for previous Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin. What do you make of these numbers?
Well, we need to remember that quite a number of things have changed since she was elected governor, and that's probably the first thing. For example, the economy nationally as well as in the Commonwealth of Virginia continues to be of concern for many people who live in Virginia, as well as the fact that we continue to have party polarization. The president's approval is dropping as well. The United States is engaged in war. And at the meantime, many people in Virginia still feel uncertain about the economy and in many cases are struggling buying food, paying for gas and things like that. Whether or not Governor Spanberger has any direct control over those kinds of things, because she's in office, she as well will get some of the pushback for that. Moreover, the redistricting amendment is generating its own campaign and firestorm on both sides, both support and opposition. I think she's embroiled in those kinds of dynamics as well.
Karen, Spanberger ran as someone who could bridge the parties together, Republican and Democrat. More people surveyed said her views on most issues are too liberal. So, in your opinion, what you've seen so far, do you think her actions have left the state more divided?
I would say not more divided. I think that her coming into office has underscored the existing divisions in the state, amplified, it's important to say, both by what's going on in Washington, D.C. and the president's actions, as well as the fact that she's had to interact with the legislature that's governed and controlled by her own party. And some of the issues that they've been dealing with are, of course, going to divide people by Republican and Democratic as well.
Karen, a big issue for Governor Spanberger was affordability. It still is a big issue that, as you said, continues to be a struggle for many Virginians, other folks in the Commonwealth, the rest of the country. Only 31% of folks say her policies will make Virginia more affordable. What do you think she could do differently moving forward here?
I'm not sure any governor has much control over what goes on in a state economy as the whole. The same thing the poll also pointed out is when people were asked about specific programs and actions that she has taken or the legislature has taken to address issues like healthcare costs, housing costs, and things of that sort, there's general support. What people aren't seeing, however, at the grocery store, at the gas station, or other things is immediate response. And that, of course, is underscoring people's uncertainty and concern about paying bills.
Karen, right now President Trump has low approval numbers. We saw last week that Maryland Governor Wes Moore's support is below 50%. Is part of the polling just a sort of a case a lot of people aren't feeling great about the way things are going and going to, take it out on whoever's in charge?
I think that's right, and I think we've been seeing that over the last several elections. I think we saw it in the last presidential election. We may well see it going into the midterms as well. And what that means is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unhappiness, and with the unhappiness with current conditions, people then say, well, time for a change. And that could be the situation we're in as a country more generally.
So April 21st, we know, will be the special election on the referendum that would allow Democrats to redraw district maps and give them as many as 4 additional House seats. That poll shows just a slight edge in favor of redistricting. It also shows Republicans, especially Trump supporters, will be motivated to vote. Are you sort of surprised with how voters are feeling about redistricting?
Not at all. I think this is predictable from the start. I've thought for a long time that this is going to be framed in exactly the way the Republicans are framing it.
But
that
anywhere
is a takeover by what's going on in Richmond and by elected officials that cannot be trusted. So I do think that plus national and international Republican mobilization and money being spent, I think it's be a very close race at best, and I will not be surprised if it goes down to defeat.
What are you looking forward to next? What else do you think the governor can do to, sway those numbers in the next polling time around?
Well, among other things, we still don't have a budget in the state of Virginia. We're still waiting for a lot of her bill signatures and amended legislation to come out of her office. So there's a lot of room between what we see now and even what we'll see with the next set of polling. But by herself, she's not going to be able to do this alone, but she clearly will need to stay forward with a consistent emphasis on what her priorities are, and continually reaching out to people and trying to underscore those kinds of activities.
All right, Karen Holt, professor of political science at Virginia Tech. Thank you so much for being with us here on WJLA 24/7. We appreciate the time.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Okay, we'll be right back here on WJLA 24/7.